Now I will give you some example of how we can use social media to detect and monitor crisis. One of the projects I want to bring to your attention is called HealthMap. HealthMap is a project from the Harvard Medical School where they are tracking online news about disease, about symptoms from all over the world. And this is done as part of a disease surveillance project called HealthMap. In there, they are tracking many different languages, reports from newspapers about outbreaks, disease, to try to identify where there is an outbreak even before a health authority has reported it. And actually, as you can see in this slide, it was several quite long before the official announcement of the Ebola outbreak that they identified in one Ghanaian newspaper people reporting about some disease that actually was provoking bleeding, nasal bleeding, etc. That actually was the beginning of the Ebola outbreak, and it was quite before the health authorities already announced it. So it was long before. And this can give you a hint before the crisis happens so that you can try to contain as soon as possible. What happened also in West Africa, there are quite many doctors actually say that it was very hard to control the outbreak because of the lack of information. And they have been arguing in a paper that was published in the Lancet that using a smartphone-based health application could have helped to better monitor the status of the outbreak and better plan the resources. In this slide, you have an example from Big Data. They published an article in the BBC News about how it's possible to use the information about the subscriber in the phones to try to monitor the movement of the population. What they managed to do actually was to try to identify if those measures to restrict the movement of people across the border actually had any effect. Because when you have the phone, it's connected to an antenna, and that information is stored. So if you cross to the other country, then you change antenna. And if you aggregate all the data of everybody who is using their phones, you may have a very good picture of how the population is moving around. That has been actually quite useful also in the Ebola outbreak, although the mobile phone penetration is quite low in that country. Now I will give you some example of a miscommunication around the Ebola crisis. One of the very big issues actually has been fake news. There are people creating rumors, whether on purpose or not, about the Ebola. You have in there one WhatsApp message that Dr. Shabir got from India that was saying that there was an outbreak of Ebola in India, which was not true, and also some natural remedies for that, which are not working at all. And those type of news has been spreading all over. On the right side, you have the front, the a fake front page of a Spanish newspaper. So somebody took a screenshot of the newspaper and then edit the headlines. So actually, they say that the fake headline said that there is an outbreak case in a university. That was actually not true. The university make an announcement that there is no Ebola in the university, but as you can imagine, pretty much no students went to class or exams because they were afraid of the Ebola case. And in a quite recent paper, Professor Rolf Wien with Elia Gavarron, they made a study on Twitter and misinformation, and they found actually that 40% of the Twitter regarding Ebola they were containing fake stories like natural remedies or any type of misinformation. This was actually quite problematic because there are some studies that they found that in Nigeria one rumor about the use of salty water to prevent and to cure Ebola was circulating, and people with kidney problems were drinking salty water. As a result, some of them died. That was in Nigeria. And then you have to think also that sometimes miscommunication is created on purpose by people who profit. In this slide, the Ebola cure, the nano silver cure, is you have some screenshot from some kind of nano silver solution that can cure many diseases. It's actually not true, but they are selling a natural product that can cure Ebola. And in the website, they say that this is part of a result from a research from the Department of Defense in the US, which is not true. And then they have a social media campaign. They managed to get some attention even in newspapers and TV. And then they use social media to try to create a campaign about using this natural solution for Ebola. One of the things that happened that actually some countries in West Africa, they started to import the natural Ebola cure solution, which is not proven at all. And then the FDA actually tried to stop it. And now there is a campaign against the FDA and on favor of natural cures for Ebola. And they are making a lot of money on that. They are using social media, they are making videos and everything. However, in this slide, you can see actually what you will find in the FDA in the US, that they are trying to stop it. The only thing you will find is actually a warning letter. If you try to compare the media usage of those promoting natural cures versus the reaction from the government, it's not very balanced. Actually, the guys promoting natural fake cure for Ebola or many other diseases, they are using social media much better. One thing that is also interesting is how people are buying domains. Like the Ebola.es has been registered by an individual who is trying to sell now the domain. This is an example of a missed opportunity for a health authority who could have bought this website to try to inform people about Ebola. This is the Spanish domain, Ebola.es, but the same happened actually with Ebola.com in the US. It costs only 20 euros.